Hi everyone, I am back and I do apologize. The sound quality is absolutely horrible. I'm still in the process of getting set up with all my equipment. Yes, you're hearing an echo because, as I said, I am living a minimalist lifestyle this year. I have some hefty goals that I am planning on doing, and yeah, I just wanted to live a minimalist lifestyle this year and to meet my goals, as well as to just to see how minimalist I could live. So that is what is going on with the sound. So be patient. We are going to talk about scammers and impersonators, and we're going to talk about scammers and impersonators in the military. Now, first of all, I want you to know I have great respect for the military. I think they have a tough job. They see the very worst in humanity. They risk their lives to protect our rights. And it's challenging because they are the #1 source that scammers and impersonators go to steal identities in order to scam other people. So it's very challenging because here these men and women are risking their lives, and their pictures are being used to scam other people. Their pictures are basically almost like bullets to harm others, and that is very heartbreaking for me. So if you are in the military, you need to be cautious because you are targeted. You are targeted to get your information, your pictures, in order to be able to use it to harm other people. So be careful. All right. Second of all, I've done the 30-year marriage, almost 30 years, okay? I have also then was in a relationship for 7 years. So if I am to finish my life being single, I want you to know I'm totally okay with that. I have this major bucket list. I have lots of adventures I plan on taking and plan on sharing and documenting them. I am perfectly fine being alone. I like being single. I am enjoying this freedom. And I also am responsible for my own happiness. I do not need anybody else in my life to make me happy. Likewise, I am not responsible for anybody else's happiness. They're responsible for their own. The other thing is I am an INFJ personality. INFJ, right, that is introvert. So we are, the INFJs are known as the extroverted introverts, because as you see, we can be very, very extroverted. However, when we recharge like an introvert. We need to have a long time. The N stands for intuition, and yes, oh yes, we have deep intuition. We just feel things. We connect with that vibrational energy, and that just becomes us. Being in a relationship with us is very deep. I will say that because we connect on a very, very deeper level. We love on an extremely deeper level. But it can be challenging as well because we have the inner intuition, and then the F is for feelings, so we make decisions based off of our heart. J is for judgments. We also make them off our head. So you will have the heart-head connection, and then you tie that with the intuition, and yeah, we can be challenging. I have come to understand that it would take somebody very special to be able to take that part of me into their lives. And then when you add the cult thing, yeah, it would take somebody very special. I'm not looking. I am working on myself, and I believe in the universe. I believe in the universe. If that is what is meant to be, and to finish this realm with somebody who could be as committed to me as I would be to them, then I know that that will come together, and so I don't stress over it. I don't actively look. I am not on any dating sites, nor will I ever be on any dating sites. The last time I was on a dating site was right after my divorce. 3 days. I lasted 3 days. It was pretty bad. I am on social media for business. I've talked to literally hundreds of men. Found the majority of them to be very pleasant and very respectful. And the few that weren't have been blocked. I have, the majority of my followers are men, and it's about, like a 60-40 ratio. The 40% being women. So ladies, you need to come on, help me out here. We need to even that up a little bit more. I've talked to some phenomenal women as well, very empowering women, which I have appreciated their insight. So that kind of gives you a little bit about that. So when I go into scammers and impersonators, we're going to talk about relationships because, like I said, every person and every event that comes into your life, I feel like gives you learning opportunity and experiences. So I'm going to talk about what I've learned. So with the military, my first engagement with a scammer was a military individual. He was a lot younger than I. I have, this ratio, a little bit younger, a little bit older. He was a lot younger. I will tell you right now, dating somebody that could be my children's age is not going to happen. That's just too weird for me. So, but he was pleasant to talk with. I enjoyed that casual conversations and hearing his insight. A young man and in the military, he didn't really share any military stuff with me initially, because that is if I'm talking to the military, that's an absolute draw the line. You don't share anything about the military with me. I will never ask anything about what you do. I won't ask anything about the military because we just don't cross that line. You keep yourself and your unit safe. So where it ended up getting into scam, how I found out he was scam, is when he said he would like to be able to talk to me more. But in order to be able to do that, I needed to get on his buddy list. And to do that, I needed to go to this website and to give them, basically my information, and to write a letter to his commanders stating that, I'd like to be put on his buddy list. And I laughed when I'm reading this because I'm like, this is such a joke. The military doesn't work that way. Come on, what's going to happen? Hey, you know what? I'm talking to this guy who's young enough to be my son, and I want to be on his buddy list so that he can call me all the time. It's like, come on. And then as I'm doing research on this site, because I'm in IT, security, I research. The site was on the FBI scam list. The FBI was looking into it. So that, yeah. And then he did the infamous iTunes card. He couldn't get what he needed there, having problems with his phone, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I needed to get him an iTunes card. Please, I just need it so bad. Okay, so let's talk about the iTunes. iTunes cards are made here in the US, all right? There are advertising campaigns to these countries that are known to be predominantly scam countries that have scammers that target the scammers to advertise to them on what sites they can go and redeem their iTunes cards and get the most for their money. So this American-made company, is profiting tremendously off of selling iTunes cards to American citizens that are being scammed and then also profiting off of having those cards redeemed by scammers. So before you point your finger at any culture or race or country, you gotta point it into the U.S. because this company inside the U.S. is profiting heavily off of basically being in that network of scamming their own citizens. So think on that one for a moment. So the first one, he was blocked, but what did I learn? What did I learn from that? I learned a wealth of information. I learned a wealth of information about that experience. First of all, I learned, it was my first experience with scammers and impersonators. I learned so much. I learned things on how to pick up quickly about whether they were a scammer or impersonator. This individual ended up sharing with me some military pictures that they had to have gotten from some other military person. And I will tell you right now, I think those pictures could have risked the lives of soldiers of what I was shared. He also told me where he was stationed. And so I learned a lot about scammers, but I learned even more about the military who was being scammed. Because all of that information that scammer had, he had to get it from a military personnel. And that's what you need to understand if you're in the military, is there will be individuals who will say all the right things and make you, I know you're missing home. I know you're missing your girlfriends. Or if you don't have a girlfriend, you would like to have a girlfriend. I know you would like to have the hope that when you come home on leave or when you are finished with your deployment, there'll be somebody there at the airport to greet you and you will have this love. I understand that, but you need to also understand these are highly skilled individuals that are gathering all that information from you to use it to harm you and your units, is use it to harm other people in scams. So please, please, please be careful what you put on social media. Be careful with what you share. If you are talking to a military individual, if they are telling you where they are stationed, you need to block them regardless, because they're most likely a scammer. And if they're not a scammer, they are a military individual who are breaking military rules and who are putting themselves and their unit at risk. And you don't want to be associated with that type of individual who is not willing to respect themselves and their unit enough to protect them. The military has rules for a reason, and it is to protect the safety. You don't want to be associated with that individual who doesn't think that the rules apply to them, even knowing that it could put not only their lives, but the lives of their unit at risk. So just block them. Just block them. If they are starting to share that information, whether it be scammers, whether it be an actual military person, just block them and walk away. That would be my advice. All right, the second individual. This one came at a very interesting time in my life. He came around the end of, let's see, it was about the first couple of weeks of November. I had a death threat on Instagram in October. It was a death threat prophecy, which proceeded to, tell me certain things were going to happen by the end of the month. At that same time, I received a letter from the cult. That was like having your rapist send you a letter letting you know that they've tracked you down and they're watching you. I was working 80 hours a week. I was in between contracts, which happens a lot. Sometimes the contracts in between contracts are just a short period of time. Sometimes it's very lengthy. So I have to always financially prepare. I was living with my children in order to make my savings last. I had sold pretty much everything that I could sell to make sure I could last through that time in between contracts. Otherwise, I'd have this apartment filled up with furniture. But I sold all of that, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. So a lot of challenging. I was working 80 hours a week. I was writing my story, and when I was writing my story, as I've shared, I bravely went and put myself back into that moment in time and felt all the real emotions. So I will tell you right now, I was exhausted and I had a total meltdown. I will tell you, and I will go into that a little bit detailed in another video. And that's when this military gentleman came and contacted me. So I was in a vulnerable state. I will tell you that right now. I was in a very vulnerable state. And he was high-ranking. Perfect gentleman, perfect gentleman. He showed me pictures of him in his uniform. He showed me pictures in his uniform, appropriate pictures in his uniform, with just not showing any military equipment or anything like that. And then he also showed me pictures of him and his family. Perfect gentleman. Like I said, perfect gentleman. He was the best accountability partner I have ever had. I will tell you right now, I am pretty disciplined. He took it up. It was like having my own drill sergeant. The whole occasionally check in and say, okay, I know you've been in front of your computer too long. Get up, go exercise, report back and tell me what you did in your exercise. Or I know you've been sitting too long. Get up, get outside, go run around the block. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's cold. You can do it. Bundled up. You got to get some air. You got to get out. Just fun things like that. That happened a lot with our conversations. I didn't ask him. One of the things that when I engaged with military, I never ask them anything about their military stuff. I don't go there. And like I said, if they delve into anything military talk, I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done because of the reasons I have said before. So we were in the latter part of discovery. I will have to say that because he was very physically fit. As I said before, I like physically fit men. I work out every day. I have heavier workouts and light workouts. I eat very clean. I don't have vices. I'll have an occasional glass of wine once in a while. And those are the type of individual that I'd want in my life. I would want somebody who worked out. I would want somebody who was physically fit and their bodies were physically fit, who ate healthy and didn't have vices. I'm not into vices. So we seem to be very, very compatible. When you are going and you're getting into the discovery, later part of the discovery into strategy, you're going to talk intimacy. And it can be talked very, very appropriately. I shared with him, married and then a boyfriend for 7 years. And that was like almost 3 years ago. And I don't sleep around, that's not who I am. So I only plan on being with one other person, and that will be the person that I end this realm with. I don't go that. And that has nothing to do with religion. That has to do with the way I connect, my INFJ personality, the way I connect, and the depth of my commitment. I'm not one that anyone would ever have to worry about cheating, because I don't even enter that realm, even step into that possibility, because nothing occurs in the physical unless you've thought of here. So, the affairs, you think, oh my gosh, they had an affair, they slept with somebody. Well, no, the affair first started here. That happened there, and it happened with because of the time they took to develop the relationship, and they thought about sleeping with that person in their mind instead of being with you. And I'll talk about that in a later one. And he shared with me that, it had been a while as well, because that was his philosophy as well. And I liked that. He was religious. I am not. I'm spiritual. I'm atheist. That didn't bother him, which I appreciated. He would not, said he would not expect me or force me to believe into his religious. I wouldn't do the same. And then, some of the things we also talked about is, we just talked about just the day in, the day out, household duties, those type of things. All the simple little things. And that's what occurs naturally in the discovery and the strategy. And because I was in a very weak state, and because he was high-ranking military, I did share with him about my book, about the cult, the letter. I shared with him about the threat prophecy, and he was very interested. He asked a lot of questions, and I enjoyed that. And I did feel like I would be safe because of his high rank, and because of his physique, and because of the depth of him, because of the experience. Military individuals have a great depth because of their experience. He had concerns that would bother me. It didn't. It doesn't. So we were heading into that area. So he wanted to take it to the next step and have conversations on the phone, and we did. I didn't choke, which was interesting. But I did get a kind of a red flag, and that was because based off of everything that he had said, he didn't speak any foreign languages. He, was American citizen, and he had an accent, and I couldn't understand. That was a slight red flag for me, because I didn't know where he would have picked up that accent. And I didn't talk to him about it. But he also wanted to talk to my children, and that impressed me. So each one of my children that I was living with, ended up talking with them. And when we were done and we ended the conversation with them, my children and I, we sat down. And I will tell you right here, right now, if you think meeting parents is hard, that's nothing. If you are older and you have to meet family and friends and children, oh my gosh, they are so harder than parents. Because parents are going to be like, hey, it's your life, whatever you want. Family, extended family, children, friends, they're more, they're more protective. They don't do the, hey, it's whatever you want. At least that's been my experience. And I'll delve into that in another video. When they got off the phone, we all sat down, and they had some concerns, and we talked about them. My children have dated more than I have. My children have more social media experience and with scammer impersonators. We talked about all of those. We laughed at their scammer and impersonator stories, and they gave me some really good advice. So I went and I decided I needed to check that out a little bit more. And I talked to him, and I wanted to verify he was who he was. So how I did that is I asked him what his insignia on his military uniform meant. He had told me his rank, and his rank didn't match the insignia. Nor did his rank match the military. I don't know military well enough, but you have the Army, the Navy. Well, his rank was for a different military than what he was in. And that's when I blocked him. We had one more conversation before I did that. And he apologized. He said he had concerns over telling me the truth because how high he was ranked. And I proceeded to tell him he's either a scammer, which we're done, or he's a man that I can't move forward with because he began the relationship with a lie. And I would not be able to trust him. So I told him I would not engage with him anymore, and then I blocked him. Miss my drill sergeant accountability partner, but don't miss that that impersonator, scammer, or whoever. So here's what I learned from him. I learned the importance of not rushing that discovery phase. The discovery phase is really that safe zone, and that safe zone is to make sure that you have proven who you are. It is up to me to prove I am who I am to whoever I am engaged with. I have been called a scammer, an impersonator. And then I have proceeded to say, well, you know what? You don't know me. So that's pretty. So here's where you can go. You can check LinkedIn, and you will find the same thing that you're going to find on LinkedIn as you find on my resume websites and my portfolio websites, and you are going to see videos of me on Instagram. You are going to see videos of me on YouTube, and I am consistent. And if I need to do an Instagram live video to prove I am who I am, I could do that right now. I could pick up my phone, tap that, go on live, and prove that I am who I am. Likewise, it is up to the individual that I am talking to prove they are who they are. I'm not going to just take their word for it, because Instagram is infamous for scammers and impersonators. And everybody who's on Instagram understands that. So you step it up or step out of the picture, because there doesn't have to be this second guessing. If you are interested in pursuing a relationship with this person and you are in discovery zone, or that is where you need to create the safe environment to be able to move forward. And if you do not do that in the discovery zone, the relationship will never get to the execution stage, ever. So here are some things that I was thinking of. How can identities be established? So here's a couple things. I named one. Instagram, you can go live. So do live. Do live. Hold up a newspaper. See, look, here's a newspaper. See, this is what it's saying right here. Notice this is today's date. And I want to talk specifically to the person's name, to let him know that I am who I am. Okay, notice I didn't have to go and show my driver's license. I didn't have to go show my passport. I didn't have to do any of that. Never show your driver's license. Never show your passport. I've been asked to show both. I won't do that because guess what? That's what scammers and impersonators use to be able to steal your identity. Second thing, if you have a verified account, for instance, Twitter, if your Twitter account is verified, very simple, very simple. Okay, you need to understand, I talk with people all over the world. I understand that sometimes internet connections aren't the best for a video call or whatever. I understand that. I understand the whole complexity with there. But if you have a verified Twitter account, here's all you have to do. You have to say, in 1 hour, I am going to tweet from my verified Twitter account this exact message. And you don't have to say the person's name. You just have to say what you're going to tweet. And it could be as simple as, I'm going to tweet, today has been an amazing day. I look forward to my future. And I'm going to say that word for word, and I'm going to post this at 1:35. And then guess what? At 1:35, you post it. And at 1:35, I go check. And that it's there. I know the verified is saying you are who you are. And so now I'm in a safe zone to be able to engage with you on unverified, such as Hangouts, such as with, Instagram chats, those type of things, or phone calls, because you have verified you are who you are. So in Discovery Zone, you have to establish trust, and that is done through communication, and it is each one of our responsibility to be able to provide the information that the other person needs to be able to feel comfortable in trusting that you are safe. So that's what I learned from military personnel number 2. Military, after that, I've talked to, I've talked to a lot of military individuals, and I have always respectfully declined to go further, just because it's very challenging for me, because there are so many, and it's hard to verify military individuals because they can't tell you where they are. A lot, they can't do videos, and I just believe in protecting the men and women who protect our rights. So there have been many who have been very respectful and understanding. I have had imposter militaries who have proposed with like the first 3 minutes, and when I respectfully declined, they have threatened me to say that they are military and they feel a connection here, and I will be their wife, and I just need to accept it. They have been blocked. I've had military individuals that I don't know that they are from the United States, they may be other countries, who have been threatening, saying, who are you to shun my request? You do not know who I am. They have been blocked. I have had generals who have contacted me. The ones that I believe are legit were the ones that asked me, what are scammers and impersonators doing, Carin? Help me understand. And then we've had a really good discussion on what they are and how they are using and targeting military, and they have thanked me for that information, and then have respectfully abided by my request to not continue engaging with me, and wish me the very best. So those are experiences that I've had. And then this last one, I've had another one. I did not know he was military. He engaged with me in my comments on multiple occasions. I will tell you right now, that's thumbs up. If the discovery zone starts with my Instagram page or social media and it is public, I am interested, because that says to me, you know what? You are not with a girlfriend, you don't have a wife, you are not needing to hide behind a direct message because you don't want anybody to know that you're talking to me. And that's how he began engaging with me. And so he did that. And then he respectfully, after a while, reached out and we began talking. I have this game that I play when we're in discovery. You can ask me anything, but the rule is whatever you ask me, you have to answer first. It just helps the chit chat, because I can only say my favorite color is blue. I've said that hundreds of times. So it ends up making this chat have a little bit more depth. And so that's always a role that I play. And he was good. He was good to engage that way. And he says, this is actually interesting. I've never had this type of conversation. I hope I'm playing your game. I hope you're playing your game correctly. And so, we would go and answer questions and then ask a question and get offline. And then when the other person would get online, they would answer it. Occasionally, we happened to get online, and be able to chat. But the majority of the time was just answering each other's chats, which was fun. And we found out we had a lot in common in our goals. And he was physically fit. He didn't have vices. He had the same moral standards. He was religious, but he didn't bother him that I wasn't. He read every post. He watched videos that I did. I have a blog. If you go to Camen.com, I have a blog. He would read my blog. So that provided him information in order to know how to talk to me. And when he wrote, it wasn't just, hey, how you doing? That short little pathetic conversations, there was depth. And he articulated himself well. I could tell he was intelligent because of the way he was able to articulate his thoughts. We talked philosophies. We had such beautiful conversations, lengthy conversations. It didn't bother me at all if it takes me, if it takes me several minutes to be able to read a depth. I write, and I love reading. And so we decided to take it offline, and that's when, because his account was private, that's when I found out he was military. And I have to admit, I sighed because I was like, oh, jeez. Okay, so now I can't ask you anything about, because one of the things I don't ask, and I would recommend you don't asking in discovery stage, is the whole thing of, so what do you do for a living? Okay, so basically in discovery stage, before you have established you are who you are, and before you have established trust, you're asking basically about people's money. That's not the time to do it. Okay, there is an appropriate time to delve into that, but it's, right now, how much they make doesn't matter, because what matters is whether you can trust them and if you're compatible. So we hadn't talked to each other about our careers. So when I found out he was military, I said, okay, I will never, you are to never tell me anything about your military. I draw the line there. And I will never ask you anything. We just cut that line off. We can have wonderful conversations. We cut that line off. Now that I know you're in the military, I understand that there is going to be a different lifestyle, and I'm okay with that. And you know, he did talk. Do you have concerns about my job? And a lot of military men do. They're concerned that a woman could accept them because of their job and things that they've had to do and the depth and that comes with being in the military. And I said, yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. That's your job. And I'm not, you know, that's your job. It doesn't bother me. And then we talked about my book. We talked about that. And I said, you know, military, it actually is comforting to me because I know that you could handle being in a relationship with me because you would be strong enough to be able to handle the things that you're going to read once you read in my book. And so he looked forward to it. He would ask me, how are you coming along with my book? And he would ask me, you know, how are you progressing? You know, he just was such a gentleman. Such a gentleman. And he did say there would be times, there would be gaps in our conversation. And he just wanted me to know there will be gaps in our conversation. He says, but I will get back on here when I can. And I says, that's fine. I am not one who has to be handheld every day. So we began to go into strategy phase. And we did start talking about when we would be able to meet. And I didn't ask anything inappropriate. He didn't tell me anything inappropriate. It would be a while. And I says, that's okay. It's okay. We can just keep building on what we have. And we just started talking about household chores and cooking and, you know, all of those things. And we took it offline, and it was wonderful. It was really nice. I really liked it. And then he goes and he does the scammer thing. And the scammer thing was he asked, you know, gave me the, I've heard it so many times, I could almost, it's almost a script by now, you know. I'm really needing this right here, and I can't get what I need where I'm at, where I'm located at. And so could you pick it up for me? Could you get it for me? And I want you to know, you know, the reason why I can't get it is because I'm in, he told me the country he was in. Okay, strike two. First of all, he's either a scammer or he just put himself and his team at risk. And I said, you just crossed the line. You crossed the line, and I'm done. And I blocked him. I blocked him yesterday. And I will tell you right now, that was hard. You know, it's been hard. I really enjoyed talking to him. I really enjoyed the thought, even though the relationship would be very challenging because of his job and him being out of the country a lot, I could see that we could make that work if we were both committed to making that work. And so that was hard. So what did I learn there? I learned not to have a hard heart. it would be so easy for me to become bitter. It would be so easy for me to just put up the wall and just say, that's it, I'm done. I'm never gonna engage with anybody again. I'm never gonna talk with anybody again. I'm done with men. Da, 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 da. That would be so easy to do. But I'm not going to, because I'm not going to let anybody have that kind of control over my life. I have not shed a tear because tears are not necessary. Do I miss the conversations? Absolutely I do. So as I peel back the layers of emotion, here's what I learned. I don't need a big house and a white picket fence and the traditional type of relationship. Had that experience. What I realized what intrigued me was having a unique relationship and having a unique experience, and understanding that when two people are really committed, time and distance don't matter. There would be benefits of having his time and my time. You know, while he's working, I'm working really hard to build our business, my business, not our business, my business. And then when we're together, we just really make good use of that time, because you know what? Eventually, he won't be in that job and he'll be retired and I'll be retired and we'll have all this time together. So it's okay if we aren't having this in each other's face and with each other every single day right now at this phases of our life. And I came to realize that could be a beautiful thing, and it could really be an endearing thing, and it could really be a really strong relationship if both partners are ready for that type of commitment. If both partners have created that trust, and if both partners are confident and have that trust and respect that the other partner is not going to be cheating on them when they're away. So it helped me even further solidify my commitment, which I made to myself, that, you know, the next person that I am with in an intimate will be the person that I will be spending the rest of my life with. Until that time, you know, I don't need that. I will tell you, I've got, let's just be blunt. Women don't need men to be able to be sexually fulfilled. That's just blunt. We're not going to go any further than that. We can have a very fulfilled sexual, intimate experience with ourselves, and we can do that. And that's the other thing I learned. And then it was what I desired was that depth of connectivity of a relationship. You know, being able to love to the depth of a soul. Being able to then seal the intimacy to even further connect deeper to the soul level. And that is the type of relationship that I wanted. So that has been my experience with military. Went a little bit longer than I had thought, went a little bit deeper into information. All right, so we're going to talk about my book. I will tell you right now in my book, I really share some very personal information about me. And I do so very openly because there are women who are, and even men, who may be like myself, who had a very sexually traumatic experience with long-term ramifications, who had to learn how to have intimacy and be able to end up engaging in intimacy and enjoying that intimacy without having the flashbacks. So I talk about steps that I did to be able to get to the point where I could have a sexually fulfilling relationship with the person that I spend the rest of my life with. And that is really in the depth of my book. So there are going to be, and that could be somewhat controversial, as well as some other things, but I chose to share that because I needed somebody to help me. And I had somebody, thankfully I had somebody who was very patient to help me. And there have been things that have helped me to be able to get to the point to where, should I ever get in a relationship, I can feel very confident about that aspect of the relationship. I'm not timid, I'm not shy when it comes to that aspect of the relationship. So I may delve into that respectfully here. I delve into it a lot deeper in my book because it's much easier when I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. So that is where we're going to end. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about scammers and impersonators when it comes to the rich and the famous. And so we look forward to then. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this out helpful. If you like it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a share, follow, click on the bell for notification. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.